Women fall in love with you only for two reasons. And if you don't understand these two reasons, you'll keep thinking love is some mystery you can't solve, some secret you're not good enough for, or some complicated game that only a few people are lucky enough to win. But love isn't random. Attraction isn't blind. And women, as much as you may think they're unpredictable, are far more consistent than most men give them credit for. They fall in love with you for two reasons. And when you learn this truth, it's going to change the way you see relationships, the way you carry yourself, and the way you approach every woman who crosses your path. And here's where most men get caught in the trap. They confuse temporary attraction with long-term love. They think because a woman laughs at their jokes, gives them attention, or spends time with them, she must be falling in love. But attraction without admiration is short-lived, like a spark without fuel. It lights up for a moment, but it fades just as quickly. And when it fades, the man is left wondering what went wrong, asking himself why she lost interest, not realizing she never truly admired him in the first place. You can't fake admiration. A woman knows deep down when she respects a man and when she doesn't. She may play along for a while if he entertains her or if he provides comfort, but her heart knows the difference. And once she decides she doesn't admire you, once she decides you're not a man she can look up to, it doesn't matter how much you try to please her, how much you bend over backwards, or how much you sacrifice. Love won't grow from that soil. So the question you should be asking yourself isn't, how do I make her like me? The question is, how do I become a man worth admiring while also being a man who knows how to create emotional connection? Because when you combine those two forces, when you make her feel something powerful and you live in a way that commands respect, you become unforgettable. You become the kind of man she can't stop thinking about when she goes to bed at night, the kind of man she brags about to her friends, the kind of man she doesn't want to lose. Think about the men you've seen women fall head over heels for. It's rarely the guy who tries the hardest to win her over. It's the man who moves through life with direction, confidence, and standards. It's the man who knows what he wants and doesn't compromise his values to get temporary approval. He might not always be the loudest in the room, but he carries himself in a way that draws people in. When he speaks, people listen. When he commits, he follows through. When he's with her, she feels like she's the only one in the world. That man creates both connection and admiration. That man embodies the two reasons women fall in love. Now, here's the beautiful part. You don't need to be perfect to create this dynamic. Women don't fall in love with perfect men. They fall in love with authentic men who know who they are and are striving to be better. Authenticity is magnetic. When you own your flaws without making excuses, when you admit your mistakes and learn from them, when you show up consistently instead of pretending to be someone you're not, she feels both safe and proud to be with you. Authenticity creates trust, and trust fuels both emotional connection and admiration. But let's get practical. How do you become this man? How do you embody the two reasons women fall in love? First, look at the way you make women feel when they're around you. Are you distracted, distant, or self-absorbed? Or are you engaged, curious, and present? Do you try to impress her by talking about yourself? Or do you draw her in by making her feel seen and valued? A woman will forget 90% of what you say, but she will never forget how you made her feel. And if you consistently make her feel understood, appreciated, and safe, you're already halfway to love. Second, evaluate whether your life is worthy of admiration. Not in a prideful way, but in an honest way. Are you chasing goals? Are you living by principles? Are you a man of your word? Do you stand for something beyond yourself? Because women don't admire comfort, they admire courage, they admire resilience. They admire discipline. If your life reflects a sense of purpose, she will look at you with respect. And respect is one of the deepest forms of attraction. And let me tell you this, women can sense when a man has no direction. You can dress sharp, drive a nice car, and even speak confidently. But if you have no purpose, no internal compass, she will feel it. And just as quickly as she may be drawn to you, she'll be gone. Because women don't invest their hearts in men who can't lead themselves. They want to admire the man they choose, not mother him. A woman wants to feel something she can't feel with anyone else, and she wants to look at you in a way she can't look at anyone else. That's why the two reasons go hand in hand. If she feels deeply connected to you but can't admire you, her love won't last. If she admires you but you don't make her feel anything, her love won't grow. But when you give her both, when you create an emotional environment that excites her and live a life that inspires her, that's when love becomes unstoppable. And here's something a lot of men misunderstand. They think admiration means being controlling or dominating. It doesn't. Admiration isn't about force, it's about consistency. It's about being someone she can count on, someone she can respect without being told to. If you have to demand respect, you don't deserve it. Real admiration comes from who you are when no one's watching, from the way you treat people, from the way you lead your own life. There's a reason women talk about the little things, the way you open a door, the way you follow up on something she mentioned last week, the way you treat the waiter at dinner, the way you react when things don't go your way. These little moments reveal who you are. And when who you are consistently reflects strength, integrity, and presence, admiration grows naturally. You don't have to sell yourself. You don't have to convince her. She sees it, she feels it, and she falls. Now think about emotional connection again. Most men think connection means talking about feelings all the time, but connection is simpler than that. Connection is when she feels like you actually get her, when you can listen without trying to fix everything, when you can laugh with her without worrying about how you look, when you can be vulnerable enough to share your truth without fear of judgment. Women crave connection because it makes them feel alive. And when they feel alive around you, they don't want to let you go. But here's the catch. You can't create connection by pretending to be something you're not. You can't fake listening. You can't fake presence. You can't fake curiosity. She'll see through it. Real connection comes from genuine interest, from actually caring about who she is, what she thinks, and how she feels. If you only care about getting something from her, she'll know. But if you care about understanding her, appreciating her, and building something with her, she'll feel it. And that feeling is love in the making. Let's also address why some men struggle with admiration. A lot of men want admiration without putting in the work to be admirable. They want women to respect them for simply existing, instead of for the life they've built, the character they've shaped, and the direction they're moving in. But admiration isn't given freely. It's earned. It's earned through your habits, your discipline, your consistency. It's earned through the way you carry yourself when no one's watching. And the irony is, when you focus on becoming admirable for yourself, not for women, women notice. They can tell when you're chasing their approval versus when you're chasing your own potential. A man who's chasing his potential is magnetic. He's not desperate. He's not needy. He's not trying to prove himself. He's simply living with purpose. And that draws women in because admiration is built on authenticity, not on performance. So here's the truth. Women don't fall in love because you bought them dinner or because you said the right words or because you fit some checklist. They fall in love because of how you make them feel and because of who you are. They fall in love because being around you feels like home and because looking at you makes them proud. And once a woman feels both of those things, she won't want to let you go. The most powerful realization you can ever have about love is that it's not something you demand, it's something you attract. Women don't fall in love because you ask them to, or because you beg them to stay, or because you did favors until you were exhausted. They fall in love because they can't help themselves. Something about who you are and how you make them feel draws them in like gravity. You can't force it, but you can cultivate it. And that's where most men lose their way. They're trying to control the outcome instead of controlling themselves. They want shortcuts, tricks, and hacks when the truth is that love responds to the kind of man you've chosen to become. Think about the word admiration for a moment. It means she looks at you and says, "That's a man I want to stand beside." It doesn't mean you're flawless. It doesn't mean you never stumble. It means your direction, your character, your resilience are so clear that she can't help but respect you. And the respect is what makes the emotional bond stick. Because if she only feels connected but doesn't admire you, the love will be fragile. And if she only admires you but doesn't feel connected, the love will feel cold and distant. But when both exist together, the relationship becomes unshakable. Now, here's a tough truth. Women watch everything, not in a paranoid way, but in a natural, instinctive way. She's watching how you treat your family, how you react under stress, how you speak to people who can't give you anything in return. She notices the tone of your voice when you're frustrated, the consistency of your actions compared to your words, the way you handle disappointment. These aren't minor details to her, they are signals. And those signals are constantly telling her whether she should admire you or not. This is why a man who talks a big game but has no discipline will always lose her respect eventually. At first, his words might charm her, but over time, the truth of who he is will surface, and when his actions don't match his promises, admiration collapses. And once admiration collapses, the emotional connection starts to wither. Love cannot thrive in that soil. That's why it's not enough to be charming. It's not enough to be attractive. You must be consistent. Consistency is the foundation of admiration. Anyone can show up on their best behavior for a few weeks. Anyone can fake confidence long enough to get attention, but consistency reveals authenticity. If you say you'll call, do you call? If you set a boundary, do you hold it? If you talk about values, do you live by them? These are the moments that build admiration in a woman's heart. And admiration is the glue of love. Now let's come back to emotion. A lot of men misunderstand what it means to create emotional connection. They think it means doing grand romantic gestures every day, buying flowers constantly, or giving endless compliments. But that's not what women crave. What women crave is authenticity in the way you connect with them. A small, Genuine moment where you listen to her fears without judgment can mean more than 1,000 empty compliments. A shared laugh during a mundane errand can mean more than the most expensive dinner. It's not about the size of the gesture, it's about the quality of presence. Presence, again, is the most underrated skill a man can develop. In a world full of distraction, giving someone your full attention is rare, and that rarity makes it powerful. When she feels like you're really there with her, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally, she feels valued. And feeling valued creates emotional safety. And safety is what unlocks her heart. Without safety, she will always hold something back. Safety doesn't mean never disagreeing. In fact, disagreement can deepen connection if it's handled with respect. Safety means she knows that even if you disagree, you won't belittle her, you won't dismiss her, you won't withdraw your presence. She can open up because she knows you're strong enough to handle her truth. That kind of safety is rare, and when she finds it in you, it creates the kind of bond that turns into love. Let's think about why so many relationships fail. Most fail because one or both people can no longer admire the other. They may still feel some connection, but admiration has died. He stops chasing his purpose, she stops respecting his choices, and suddenly the relationship feels empty. Or maybe admiration is there. She respects his career, his discipline, his achievements, but she doesn't feel connected anymore. He's absent, distracted, emotionally unavailable. And suddenly the relationship feels cold. In both cases, love dries up because love needs both emotion and admiration. Now ask yourself, which one do you naturally provide more of? Some men are naturally good at creating emotional connection. They're funny, charming, attentive, and women feel safe around them. But they lack direction, consistency, and purpose. So admiration never forms and women leave. Other men are admirable in many ways. They have strong careers, discipline, and respect, but they struggle to connect emotionally. They're distant, stoic, or distracted. So even though women admire them, love doesn't deepen because connection is missing. The key is balance, and balance comes from self-awareness. If you know you're good at making women feel seen and understood, but your life lacks consistency or purpose, you need to work on building a life that earns admiration. If you know you're admired for your achievements but struggle to connect emotionally, you need to work on presence, listening, and vulnerability. Balance both and love follows naturally. This is why love isn't luck. It's a reflection of who you are. If you consistently attract women who lose interest, it's not because women are impossible to understand. It's because you're not embodying the two reasons women fall in love. Maybe you make them feel something, but they can't admire you. Or maybe they admire you, but you don't make them feel anything. Either way, the pattern tells you what to work on. And the work never ends. Being admirable isn't a box you check once. It's a lifestyle. It's showing up every day with integrity, discipline, and direction. Creating emotional connection isn't a one-time act. It's a habit. It's choosing presence over distraction, curiosity over self-centeredness, patience over impulsiveness. Love is cultivated in the daily choices you make, not in one grand gesture. Here's another truth: women don't fall in love with potential. They fall in love with patterns. If your life shows a pattern of growth, resilience, and consistency, she sees it and admires it. If your behavior shows a pattern of presence, attention, and emotional safety, she feels it and connects to it. Potential without patterns is just empty promise. Patterns prove who you are, and women fall in love with proof, not promises. And let's not forget this: when you build a life worthy of admiration and create connections full of presence, you don't just attract women, you attract respect from men, opportunities in your career, trust from your family. These qualities don't just serve your love life, they elevate your entire existence. Women falling in love with you is just one result of becoming this kind of man. The deeper reward is the life you build and the respect you earn across the board. Think about the men you admire. Chances are you admire them because they live with purpose, consistency, and authenticity. And you probably feel a sense of connection with them too, because they show up in a way that makes people feel valued. That's not coincidence, it's the formula. It works across all relationships, not just romantic ones. If you want to be loved, admired, and respected, you must be both emotionally present and admirable in character. Now, imagine a woman looking at you 10 years from now. What do you want her to see? Do you want her to see a man who's still chasing approval, still trying to impress, still scrambling for validation? Or do you want her to see a man who's steady, consistent, present, and admirable? Because that vision starts today. The way you live today creates the patterns she'll admire tomorrow. The way you show up today creates the emotions she'll connect with tomorrow. It's not about perfection. It's about trajectory. You don't have to have everything figured out right now. You don't have to be the strongest, richest, or most charming man in the room. You just need to be moving in the right direction consistently. You just need to be honest, authentic, and present. That's what creates admiration. That's what creates connection. And that's why women fall in love.